Hello everybody, today I'm going to be going over two new mods for Fallout 4. Oh wow, this is running really weird for whatever reason. And they are two pretty great mods early on, and they will be great later on as well. And what are those two mods? Creation of weapons, melee weapons to be exact, and ammunition. So both of these are going to be happening at the chemistry station. So you're going to load up your chemistry station, well, chugging a little bit. So, go down to Utility in your chemistry station, and you'll see a bunch of new stuff. Mainly, ammunition and weapons, melee weapons. So, what you're going to want to do is you're going to, basically click on them. They require a lot of different variations of your junk. So, we have just 38 rounds, and those require acid, cloth, copper, lead, steel, and wood. And I believe you get quite a few for making one of those. You get 10 rounds. Alright, 10 rounds for 38 rounds. 0.38. 10 millimeter rounds, I believe you also get 10. 5 millimeter rounds, you get 50 of those because you go through those so fast because I think the only thing that uses those is the minigun. And here's a melee weapon you can create. The board. Requires only 15 wood, which is very easy to come by. Cannonballs, which are used by the broadsider. Cutting fuel, which is, basic thing already in the utilities, so you don't need that. Flamer fuel, this is great. So, 5 oil, 1 fertilizer, 1 asbestos, and 1 acid, and you get 50 flamer fuel. You go through that pretty fast, but for only 5 oil, which becomes very difficult to get later on, unless you're scrapping all the paint cans and random aluminum cans that you find. Occasional gas canister. Flares, which, who uses flares? Knuckles, which surprisingly use wood. Pool cue, also wood. Railway spikes, these are also relatively difficult to come by. You can only buy them in like 10s to 20s. And they require screws and steel, and I believe you only get one. Yeah, you get 1 for 1. Rolling pin also uses wood. Cane uses wood. 308 rounds, which are pretty common. 44 rounds, which are less common. 5.56 rounds, which are pretty common. And then you get into more interesting things. So, the baseball bat, which requires big leagues. That's pretty smart. Then you have the baton, requires blacksmithing. The boxing glove, which requires iron fist. And then fusion cells, which require 1 science and a bunch of stuff. So let's make a fusion cell. How many do you get? 10 fusion cells. That's pretty decent for aluminum, which you're going to want a lot of. And circuitry, ooh, that requires circuitry. That's you don't get tons of those, but that's okay. Gamma rounds are basically the same requirements as fusion cells. Lead pipe requires steel for whatever reason. I believe lead is an actual material you can use. Machete requires steel, is also missing the blade. So if we go up here, you can see it doesn't actually have the blade. Sorry about that little cut, I got a phone call. So, lead pipe, yeah, it requires that. Shotgun shells, gun nut 1, the switchblade, blacksmith, tire iron, blacksmith, Chinese officer sword, which also suffers the same fate, doesn't have the blade on the little preview doodad. Missiles, those require Demolition Expert 2 and Science. Plasma cartridge requires Science 2. The Ripper, also missing the blade, and that requires Blacksmith and Science. The Revolutionary Sword, same thing, requires Blacksmith 2. Then you get down to the Super Sledge and the Sledgehammer, which the Sledgehammer is missing the end. Super Sledge is all there, which is kind of, I don't know why that's all there and the other things aren't. 50 caliber round require gun nut 3. Those are always great for your snipers. But once you get the Gauss rifle, which requires these, the 2mm electromagnetic cartridges, it's basically useless unless, you don't want to buy these extremely expensive rounds compared to the 50 caliber rounds. Well, double the price. Those are very handy though. Cryo cells, which become, you can only buy those later on once you get the cryo later. Mini nukes, those you basically only find and buy in small quantities. Alien blaster rounds, which you cannot actually buy. You get about 450 to 500, I'm not sure exactly, I don't remember. And then you don't get any more, so being able to create those with, and be able to use the alien blaster again, which is a pretty decent energy weapon. pretty great. Fusion cores, which is probably one of the best things on here, because you have to buy those or scavenge them. Very difficult to come by later on, and you know, if you want to use your power armor, which greatly enhances the gameplay, it's great. And those require Nuclear Scientist 2 and Science 4, which I just got Science 4 on my main game on my PS4, and you have to be level 41. Ugh. So it's gonna be a while before you can make those, but still. And Power Fist. So the last thing requires Blacksmith 3 and Science 4, which I don't know why, because the Power Fist isn't the greatest weapon in the game, so I don't know why it has such large requirements. Maybe Blacksmith 3 and then Science 2 would be okay for this. But that's to be tweaked maybe, or left the way it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I might be making more videos on Fallout 4 mods in the future. Not exactly sure. But if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and maybe leave a comment if you want to see other things, or if you just want to say, hey, how's it going? So, have a great day everyone, and talk to you later. Bye guys.